Welcome to Encounter Him, and this is Evangelist Waller, the guest for today. I am so glad to be here, and I am going to share some of my experiences with the Lord. You know, some of us think that once you see a person at a certain place in life that they've never had any hardships, they've never had any heartaches, or they just look like they got it all together. But there are times, even in the walk, you know, you may be saved, you may feel like you have arrived to a place where God has truly blessed you, but in that you still have adversity. And you look at others and it looks like they're going through and there's no challenge, but yet deep down inside, that person you're looking at has some kind of challenge or some kind of adversity, but they just don't show it. And so I just wanted to talk about being a minister's wife and, you know, how God taught me what grace really is. Grace is God's supernatural ability to do and be whatever He's called you to do or be. I don't care whatever it is, there God has enough strength for you to get it done. I was thinking about all the experiences God has given me and all of the blessings, but in the blessing, there was always a moment where I said, God, where are you? Could you please help me? Is there anyone that can help me at this moment? And I remember my husband and my husband is a bishop, and we had been married, I think by this point, we had already been married 10 years. We had a lot of blessing. We had a lot of miracles. And when I say miracles, I mean God gave us things that no man could take they couldn't say they did it for us. They couldn't take the credit. We knew that God had came in supernaturally. He blessed us with a beautiful church that sat 700 people. He blessed us with a home that was 4,000 square feet. And in that time, my husband had his first amputation. In that moment, I did not know where God was. I could not understand, God, why did you give us so many blessings? It was very hard for me to balance this. And, you know, I didn't have anyone to turn to. And so when I went through this time, I also had children. And you know, sometimes the enemy will play games with your mind because you know people are watching you. You know that you're on display, that people see that even though there are so many blessings, that there's so many failures. And all you can feel is the failure. A blessing feels so good, but a failure is like a burning arrow. The Bible speaks of when the enemy shoots his burning arrows, and that we are supposed to use our shield of faith. But there are moments where your faith is tested, and you don't know exactly how to use your faith, because this is the test. This is the lesson. The lesson at that moment was to learn how to use my faith. And I endured. I did. I prayed. I read. I did everything that God wanted me to do. And in time, it did get easier, but I still had questions. I still wanted to know, God, where are you? And then we moved again. We moved to, at that time we were living in Kentucky, and we moved to Ohio, and then my husband's health got hit again. And this time, I almost lost him, and he ended up getting another amputation. My question now is, God, where are you? I'm doing everything everyone tells me to do. And this is where the real lesson began. Sometimes you have to learn your own relationship with God. You can't go by everything everyone tells you. You have to get deeper in the Word. You have to become stronger in your prayer life. You have to listen for His voice and do what you hear Him say. And I remember this time I was so devastated. I was so devastated that I questioned my own relationship with God. Now I don't know where he is. I'm still doing church. I'm still going to church. I'm still playing the wife of the minister. But my questioning became even stronger. And then I got to a point where I said, God, I don't think I could do this anymore. I don't think I can go any further anymore. And I remember wanting God so desperately, knowing the testimonies of the saints. That's why the Bible says that we overcome by our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. Because the testimony of the saints is what keeps you going. And I remember how God had healed so many people, how he had restored so many lives, how he had brought so many people out. And I am a part of it, of the inheritance. So I knew, deep down inside, I knew that somewhere my blessing was right around the corner. But I was just feeling so bad. Do you know that your faith and your feeling is not the same thing? That sometimes you just have to do it afraid. Sometimes you just have to believe even though your heart is breaking. That sometimes you just have to do it. And you know, I just decided I'm going to believe. And I just started praying. I just started saying, God, I'm not happy. God, I don't know where to turn. God, I don't have the answers. And I remember a still voice saying, my faith will be tested, but that his grace is sufficient for me. That in my weakness, his grace is sufficient. And I just decided, Lord, I will believe, but I will do it by your grace. Your grace will get me through. Your grace, not my strength, but your strength will get me through. Yes, I don't know. And I remember him giving me the parable of the Hebrew boys. And the Hebrew boys, they said no matter what happens, he's still God. He's still able to heal us, to deliver us from this situation. And that's what I decided. God, no matter what my situation is, you're still a deliverer, you're still a healer, and I trust you. And in that trust, his grace became greater. My name is Evangelist Waller, and thank you so much for allowing me to share my testimony.